Hello, Lori Michelle, the Moshiach with life lesson number 14. The pain pleasure principle isn't enough. We need God. If you believe in God, then you know that's true. But this lesson is about how humanity uses the pain pleasure principle to make their decisions. And God comes after. And you may be a religious person, deeply good, and not believe that, but keep listening anyway, because this is for your benefit. I must tell you what he's telling me and what I see around the world, because we're spinning out of control and we're in the middle of a global pandemic. And the problems that we're experiencing are coming from everyone. So you need to understand how flawed the choices that are being made by everyone right now. I didn't know what I was going to speak about today, but this is straight from Hashem. I had no idea this was coming. In fact, we never spoke about this before today. Today was the first time we spoke about the pain-pleasure principle. And so I'll read it to you what it is, because I looked it up online. And the pain-pleasure principle is something that was developed by Sigmund Freud. And it suggests that people make choices to avoid or decrease pain, or make choices seeking pleasure. And it sounds like common sense, right? I do it also. I am motivated by pain and pleasure. I'll give you a couple of examples of how pain versus pleasure is a motivator, but it should not come first. It should come after your desire to choose God and be godly. It's counterintuitive to most people. If you're religious, you're going to say, "You're ridiculous. I choose God first all the time." And he just said, no, you don't. And you need to understand the difference. So I'll use two examples, real world, current examples of how humanity uses pain pleasure first, number one, and how I use my Geiger counter, my motivator first is God and godliness. And second comes pain versus pleasure. Headaches. I get migraines. Pain, horrible pain. And they knock me out for a day, sometimes 2 or 3. And I can't do anything. I can't record a video. I can't go running. I am useless with these migraines. So I found out what it was coming from, and it's from a sinus problem that I've had recurring for many years. And I knew it was there. I was told in a recent CAT scan that I have a sinus issue, and I let it go. Because I have occasional headaches once in a while, and I deal with them, and they weren't so frequent. They were tolerable. But recently, seems like once or twice a week, I'm knocked out for a day or 2. So I had a conversation with Hashem and said, this is not okay. I cannot be knocked out every week for at least a day. I have to get this information out there to them, Hashem. I cannot be stopped. This work is all about you and him. I'm not even on the radar. I hate doing this. I love reaching a few of you who reach out to me and let me know how important this is to you. And that is the wind beneath my wings. Other than you, I hate doing this. I hate doing this because I feel like I'm spinning my wheels and not getting to anyone. And he says, oh, no, 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 Lori, keep going. It's gonna happen. So while I have the breath of life in me, my every thought and all my motivation is God and you and bringing him to you and making this world a better, more livable place for my children. And that's it. Everything else is extra. Pleasure? I don't really have any pleasure. I really don't. I was even saying to Hashem that I should start watching comedy movies again at night. I don't even watch movies. I don't do anything that's just for fun. Truly. And it's hell. I mean, this is hell, but my life is terrible. So I was thinking I could use a good laugh once in a while. Maybe that would help me feel better, more pleasure, so that I could do more work. Do you understand that my number one thought is, how do I feel better so I could do better work for him and you? He and you and my children, number one. Pain and pleasure, yeah, but they're a tool that I use so that I can work harder on serving him and you. Truly. I know, nuts, right? You might say, not nuts, I'm just the same. And I want that to be true. Hashem said, oh no, it's not true. And it's not true, not because you're a demon, but because you have something called an ego and you're normal. And I'm just not normal. And I never knew that I wasn't normal. I really didn't. I thought I was normal. I'm very relatable. I have a great sense of humor, but I'm not normal. He said it's sort of like I'm a spirit who doesn't have a body, but I do have a body, and I behave like the spirit world does without a body. I don't see the difference. Spirit, body, same. He said, no, it's not the same. So the second example, to let you know about how humanity chooses first pain versus pleasure, the pain-pleasure principle, and God comes next. Cigarettes. You may not be a smoker, listen anyway. You may be a reformed smoker, listen anyway. This is for you. This is for humanity. Cigarettes are deeply evil. There's nothing good about cigarettes. They shouldn't even be sold anywhere in the world. But they are. We know they are. And people are smoking still all over the world. In Israel, it's epidemic. It's beyond comprehension. We're in the middle of a pandemic. People are wearing masks. And I see people pulling down their mask, using it as a chin strap, and smoking. You're trying to protect yourself from a deadly virus, but you're smoking a carcinogen. It makes no sense, right? But they want the pleasure of smoking. They're getting some kind of pleasure out of the nicotine. So they don't want to quit. The pain of quitting is greater than the pleasure of smoking. And you may say, I quit, and guess what? I'm with you. I used to smoke. I was addicted, and I quit many, many years ago. You can do it. But that's not the full answer here. Pain versus pleasure, right? The motivator of all of humanity, pain and pleasure, comes number one to you who has an ego. And so how does that affect you? The governments around the world charge a sin tax on cigarettes to get you to stop smoking. Oh, really? Has it made you stop smoking if you're smoking right now? No. Does it deter smoking? Not really. What does it do? It lines the pockets of many politicians. Many politicians around the world get their salaries paid by someone else's sin. Pleasure. They should abolish cigarettes from the planet, but the pleasure of collecting tax dollars is greater than the pain of watching people die of cancer. Am I making people sound too evil for you? I'll continue. What about the pharmaceutical companies that make money on oncology drugs? If we abolished cigarettes from the planet, how much will they lose in selling oncology drugs to treat the cancers that cigarettes cause? He said, lots. Pleasure. Money, money, money. What else? Oncology doctors have their waiting rooms filled with people with asthma and emphysema and cancer. If suddenly someone removed the carcinogen from the planet that causes that illness, they would lose several patients. And if you're angry with me, well, then get angry, because the truth makes a lot of people angry, but you need to hear it anyway. The pain of removing cigarettes from this world would be so great to the people who are making money that they don't have the chutzpah and the courage to say, no more. No more. Pain, pleasure. They're making lots and lots of money on cigarettes. Who else is making money? How about the market across the street where I go to buy groceries? They sell cigarettes. Are they doing it out of the goodness of their hearts? No, again, they're making money. Money makes the world go around, and it affects your decisions between goodness and evil. It's pure evil to have cigarettes in this world, but the pain of removing them would cost too much money. Do you see what I'm saying? There would be no question if I was in charge, and I'm glad I'm not. I don't want to be in charge. He's in charge, and you're in charge. They are. You're in charge. Did you know that? If I was in charge, no cigarettes. You can't find one anywhere in all the world. Nobody would be able to get their hands on cigarettes. And I don't care how much money I would lose. I'll lose it all. I won't put a cigarette in a child's hand and watch them grow sick and die. For what? I'm going to accept $1, 1 shekel, and watch someone die? You won't find their blood on my hands. So God comes first for me. You can't pay me enough to do that. I won't take it. And if you told me, Lori, stop putting these videos out, or I'm going to take away everything else that you have, and you're going to be on the street living in a tent. And I would say, I never lived in a tent before. I guess I'll have to figure out how to deal. The pain of doing the wrong thing, doing something against God, or harming any one of you is much greater to me. Much greater. Pain, I won't do anything for the pleasure of money, for the good opinion of others. I don't need that. I need Him, and I need to help you. That's my driver. Pain and pleasure comes after. I'm in a lot of pain a lot of the time. This is miserable. Some of you give me great joy when you let me know that my video reached you and made you think about things you've never thought about before, and you appreciate what I'm doing. I'm on purpose. I'm living my purpose. I'm getting him to you when you need him. The pain-pleasure principle, is what's causing our problems around the world. How so? It's your number one driver, and God comes next. You need to flip it. God comes first. His laws come first. Remember where you come from first, and do your best to serve him and everyone else, and your pleasure comes after. Can you do it? Put yourself on a shelf and put everyone else number one. Try it. If enough people do that, we're going to see big changes in this world. God bless you. There's more good information in the Torah part 2. It's time, people. I'm telling the truth. If you've listened this far, do it now. Amazon.com. I'm waiting for you. I want to give you more. God bless you.